Good morning. I'm John Proven. I'm honored to be reading this citation today for my friend Paul. The highest distinction the Senate of a university can confer upon an individual is an honorary doctorate. At the University of Manitoba, the criteria include distinguished achievement in scholarship, the arts, or public service. Our honorary graduate this morning is Paul Soubry. Paul Soubry has a gift for viewing the big picture. At the same time, he has the ability to focus on the little things, like learning everyone's name across his organization. With his down-to-earth leadership style, he has helped transform 2 Manitoba companies into 2 of Canada's greatest international success stories and energized product development in the aerospace and transportation industries. For these reasons, Mr. Soubry was named Canada's CEO of the Year in 2016 by the Financial Post. Mr. Soubry rose through the ranks at StandardAero for 24 years, becoming Canadian President in 2001, Chief Operating Officer in 2006, and Chief Executive Officer in 2007. After leaving StandardAero, he was soon hired as President and Chief Executive Officer of New Flyer Industries, NFI. With his big picture ideas and deeply personal leadership style, he led the company through a series of transformations and acquisitions that have led to NFI's success as a global leader in the sustainable bus and motor coach manufacturing industry. Under Soubry's leadership, NFI acquired Winnipeg's only other bus manufacturer, Motor Coach Industries, and transforming it into another success that is currently leading the industry evolution towards zero-emission transit vehicles. His business philosophy is to inspire and engage employees, believing honest actions and genuine sincerity send a strong message, and that demands service, something Paul does in spades. He demonstrates it daily. He's so involved in his company, and any who have experienced it and tours across the enterprise with Paul will realize. Mr. Soubry was honored with the University of Manitoba's Distinguished Alumni Lifetime Achievement Award in 2018, and he was also recognized as one of Canada's top 40 under 40 in 2003, inducted into the Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters Hall of Fame in 2014, given the Chartered Professional in Human Resources Patron of the Year Award in 2016, and the Canadian Council for the Advancement of Education Distinguished Service Award in 2020. Mr. Soubry brings that same drive and passion to the causes he champions. As chair of the University of Manitoba's Front and Center Capital Campaign, his unrelenting energy and vision helped raise in excess of $626 million to support students and key university projects. Throughout his distinguished career, Paul has been a devoted volunteer, helping many other successful charitable efforts, including St. Paul's High School, Big Brothers of Winnipeg, the Canadian Cancer Society, and many others. Madam Chancellor, it is an honor for me to ask on behalf of the Senate of the University of Manitoba that you confer a Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, upon Mr. Paul Soubry for his commitment to his home province and for changing the landscape of the transportation industry. Thank you.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor of this university, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining.
Graduating class, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Paul Soubry.
Thanks, John, for that fantastic introduction. Chancellor Mann, President Benarosh, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, the 2022 University of Manitoba graduates from architecture, Clayton H. Riddell Faculty of Environment, Earth, and Resources, the I.H. Asper School of Business and Graduate Studies. Thank you for this incredible honor. I'm grateful and I'm humbled. Now, I've never been the smartest kid in the class, maintained a solid C average, but today I'm feeling like one of the luckiest guys in the class, and I'm truly honored that I never imagined I'd ever be called a doctor. First, let me say a few words to the important people in my life. To my parents, who both have passed, my mother was an amazing example of perseverance and inspiration, who took life's challenges presented to her with grace and dignity. She's also the one that always reminded me that if I take myself too seriously, nobody else will. My dad would be so proud to be here today. He actually received the exact same Honorary Doctor of Laws degree in 2003 from this same university. And so today, in fact, I chose to wear his robes, not my robes. Plus, it's environmentally friendly, renew, recycle, reuse. Thanks to my 2 brothers and 3 sisters. We had a big plan in the Soubry household for putting up with me as a kid. I'm told I was rather a handful, in fact, probably more than that. And thanks to my amazing wife, Christine, our married for 29 years, and our 2 incredible children, Paul and Madeline, who are here today, for all your love, your patience, and your support. Finally, to all the wonderful people that I've had the privilege to work with, for, or to learn from. As John said, I've been blessed to work with 2 very amazing organizations here in Winnipeg, both with incredible people with a unique sense of excellence, competitiveness, and pure Manitoba pride. Now, my dad was an immigrant to Canada from Belgium after the Second World War. Didn't talk about it much, and he immediately fell in love with our country. In fact, he always used to say that he wanted to be more Canadian than the actual Canadians. He believed, coming as a young person, that everyone has a fundamental responsibility to give back to the community that gives you a chance. And so, like him, I felt a pull to get involved in my community at the right time. So when the Front and Center campaign was launched by the University of Manitoba, we set out to raise $500 million. And as John mentioned, we got to $626 million, the single largest philanthropic campaign in the history of Manitoba. And I was presented with the honor to chair it, and it was truly an incredible experience. As the president mentioned, now that you've graduated, we all have a responsibility to continue to stay connected to this wonderful institution that gave us a chance. In the 7 years of our campaign, an amazing 62,075 people from 48 different countries gave to that campaign. 20%, 1 in 5, were graduates of the University of Manitoba, which is a pretty special statistic. And it's truly inspiring to see so many people wanting to get engaged. So University of Manitoba, thanks for this incredible and wonderful honor. I've learned so much from family, from friends, from my education, and now somewhere around 35 years of work experience. I learned about people. I learned about those that have less than I have, or that look very different than me. I learned about choices I made and the consequences, both good and bad. I learned about being on teams, about winning and losing. And most importantly, I learned about myself. So if there's judgment at the end of our time, I hope to be remembered for 2 things. One is, while I wasn't the smartest, I was always the hardest working person in the room. And number 2, true to my dad's desire, I hope I can give back more than I take. As for words of advice to you as graduates today, this wonderful achievement did not happen by accident. And your hard-earned degree is a very important symbol of your achievements. As we can all attest, COVID changed everything. Who could have ever imagined that a good portion of your study and your learning to get your degree was done remotely in isolation? And so with that, you should be very proud. The pandemic and resulting global crisis taught us a lot about ourselves, about the human spirit, and most importantly, our will. Constantly dealing with the unknown, 6 waves, and the unpredictable. You prove that with courage and commitment and creativity to adapt, you can excel and you can achieve. So now join the rest of us graduates to preserve and protect the values that made these achievements possible. The freedom of speech for knowledge and the truth. The freedom to gather and to really speak your mind. And the respect for everyone for their own individual characteristics and special circumstances. Looking forward, seek opportunities that allow you to make choices and decisions about your own life. Solutions to any problems can come from anywhere, both in your personal life or your professional life. And I urge you to surround yourself with the very best people. And if one day you find yourself as being the smartest person in the room, I suggest you find another room. People around you are so critical. Always keep in mind, it's nice to be important, but what's most important is being nice. I believe that a key measure of a person's success isn't how rich or famous they are, but it's how well they treat other people. I wish you great success with long, happy, and prosperous lives. Now, we've always heard that family, friends, and our health are the only things that are really important in life. And it's easy to say, but it's kind of hard to live by. And we easily get distracted by this crazy world in which we live in. Now, just last month, I was diagnosed with an aneurysm on my aorta, right out of my heart. So when the doctor called me, I got off the phone with him and Googled aorta aneurysm. So if it bursts, you're done. And so in my case, boy, what a wake-up call. Called around, phoned a few people. A cousin of mine that's a doctor said, just don't Google it. Your blood pressure will go through the roof and you'll die just reading about it. So now I'm on temporary medical leave for a couple months, down 10 pounds, feeling good. And I got to get my blood pressure down and to get my life in order. My advice to you is no matter how old you are, do not wait for the same wake-up call. Not everybody gets a second chance. Take care of yourself, both your mind and your body. Life really is a team sport, so build your network. Think of every moment you're in, every good time, every work time, every social time, every environmental time, every philanthropic opportunity. Take the time to acknowledge what you've learned and what you want to emulate. And when people do right by you, thank them. Love who you are and be who you are, not what others think they want you to be. There's so much hate and destruction in the world today. Use your talents, your passion, your knowledge, your kindness, your creativity. Use everything that you have at your disposal to do good. Focus on engaging and inspiring people around you to excel, not because they have to, not because they work for you, but because they want to be part of it. I'll leave you today, and I'm one of these quote junkies, with one of my favorite quotes. It's from the founder of Apple, the late Steve Jobs, who early in his career set a goal for himself to make a dent in the universe. Think about what he did. Once again, graduates, celebrate what you've achieved, have a wonderful day, and then go forth and make your own dent in the universe. Thank you.